Greetings everyone. I'm John and this is Luke beside me. And this is our World Parkinson's Congress video for travel exercises. Now that you've decided to go to the Congress in Barcelona, Spain, it's time to get ready. So we remind you to please talk to your doctor or physical therapist if you need to. The exercise is important. And if you have any questions, please ask us. We're here to help you guys. So Luke, tell us why exercises are important for Parkinson's again, and what are some of the exercises we're going to be doing?
So there's tons of science out about how important exercise is for really many neurological disorders, especially Parkinson's. We utilize boxing and martial arts because of the fast movements, the weight transfers. It works a lot on balance, a lot of mobility. And then we do other exercises, strength from squats to presses, pulls, mobility movements. It really combats all the major symptoms of PD, whether it be stiffness, freezing, loss of balance. So Parkinson's is really good, exercise is really good for the brain, really good at combating Parkinson's, and specifically getting ready for this Barcelona trip, as we know that can be a heck of a physical feat itself, from getting onto a plane, navigating hotels, stairs, a lot of walking, a lot of standing, a lot of moving, carrying suitcases. So it's we're going to kind of tailor this specifically to training for that. But keep in mind that that exercise in general is very good for fighting Parkinson's. It's many neurologists' number one prescription, actually.
I'm a good example of that, because I've had Parkinson's for 8 years, and exercise has been one of the best things for me. So what are some of the things we're going to be doing?
Today we're going to work on walking, and not just your standard normal walking, but walking on uneven surfaces, stairs, different directions, stopping and going. So we'll kind of try to master walking. We're going to work on carrying, because you're going to have to carry, heavy things from suitcases. We're going to work on picking things up. You're going to have to pick up a suitcase, put it down, put an overhead bench. So we're going to work on our pull, our push, our lower body. We're going to work on sitting to standing, going in from an airplane seat or a bus ride, standing, stepping over people. And again, as I mentioned earlier, what's nice about this isn't just to be able to do those things I mentioned. All these movements, even irrelevant, even if you're not going to Spain, even if you're not traveling or not getting on an airplane, it's super important that we squat, we sit down, stand up every day. These are all really important movements for life. So as general or specific as you want to, but we're going to kind of tailor these towards our trip.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. Well, the reason why we're doing this is, like you said, the WPC going there is not going to be easy. There are things to deal with. There's travel, nutrition, meds, different time zone changes. We already have to deal with Parkinson's as it is, right? So this is not going to be a normal routine. So we need to prepare for the trip. So that's what we're here doing. So, well, you and I have already warmed up, and I hope everybody else has. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right, Luke, what's first up?
All right, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start getting our heels off the ground, almost like we're peeling our foot off the ground. So I'll show you from the side. Actually, let's rewind. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to get good posture. Let's get good posture. We always want to have good shoulder position over the hips, over the heels, ears, back over the shoulders. We always want that in life. Good body placement allows us to move better. So we want good posture. With that said, though, the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to bring my heel off the ground. And then as this heel comes down, the other heel comes off the ground. And we're going to start swapping. So watch my heels, one up, and then switch, and then switch. Notice I'm also going to start getting my hands involved. Opposite palm comes with my opposite knee. I like to exhale as I move to keep breathing. So you're almost kind of moving in place first. This could be kind of a warm-up, a prerequisite to walking, but also kind of gets that good, nice walking form down. And if you're ever frozen, this is a really good trick to kind of get you moving again. It's just kind of getting that motion going, getting those weight transfers without actually stepping. Notice when I'm up on one toe, about 80% of my weight is on my down foot. Then it switches like a seesaw. So now we're going to keep going. We're going to start advancing that. You're going to peel your foot off the ground. The toe is the last thing to leave, first thing to land. Just bring the toe right off the ground. Keep those arms swinging right here. And we're going to go up a little higher now. Now I want your foot come up to about mid-shin height. Notice with the bigger steps, we need bigger arms. One of the things I see a lot in our PD classes, the arms don't go back very well. Focus on getting that arm back behind you, especially the Parkinson's affected side. If you do have one side that you notice is more affected. Now we go up higher and higher. Let's get those knees all the way up. Try to get them up to your hips. Try to get them above your hips. And now let's really exaggerate those arm movements. One of the biggest symptoms of Parkinson's is loss of power. So our movements get smaller and smaller without us even knowing it. So let's be dramatic here. Let's overemphasize, over-exaggerate. If we can do a nice, big power, high march, then you can sure bet we can walk pretty well. So really get those legs up, because we're doing two things. You have to have the strength and ability to get that leg up. You have to have the balance and stability to keep that to stand on the floor with one leg. Let those arms go. We're almost done here. Notice if you're going big, powerful, fast, we're also getting some good cardio in. Burn some calories, get your heart rate up. Almost done here. All right, next thing we're going to do, we can settle back down. We're going to work on one leg balance, because that's required for a millisecond of every step we take in our life. You have to stand on one leg. So we're going to stand on one leg only. The other foot is going to step forward and tap your heel to the floor. Step back, tap your toe to the floor. So watch me from the side. I'm tapping my heel, tapping my toe. Want to make this more advanced? Step higher on your way through. Big step, big step. Notice I'm not weight transferring. I'm not landing on that foot. My shoulders stay over my hips, stay over my down leg that's planted through the floor. We're just using this foot as like an antenna. You feel the ground, feel the ground. Now we are going to weight transfer. Feel the ground, and then roll to that foot. Feel the ground, roll back to that foot. When you go forward, heel to toe. When you go back, toe to heel. Notice my arms, always that opposite palm faces that front knee. You want to advance this, take a higher step, bigger step, faster step. Bigger arms, exaggerate, really get moving. Work on that deceleration, change of direction, re-acceleration. We're working on that directional change. Keep that 1 foot planted, step high through. If you want, you can even put a hurdle in. I'm going to use a boxing glove. You can step up over a hurdle to get through. In life, there's going to be a lot of hurdles around, navigating through streets, through airports. You're going to have to step over things. Let's go ahead. Let's do the other side. We're going to plant that other foot. Start super basic, good posture. Keep your weight on your down foot and just tap your heel, tap your toe, tap your heel, tap your toe. This one can actually be more challenging than the full weight transfer, because if we have trouble with balance, and I see this a lot in my classes, in my Parkinson's programs here, we have trouble keeping the weight on this foot. You almost put too much weight on your kickstand leg. You almost have to fall to keep your weight on both legs. We're practicing keeping your weight on one leg and just using one as kind of an antenna, a feeler. Feel the floor, feel back. So we're not weight transferring yet. I'm just tapping the ground, just tap the ground. Pretend you're landing on thin ice with that moving foot. Now let's start weight transferring. And get that natural roll. One of the things that can cause a lot of falls, we see with elderly, with Parkinson's, is when you don't have that rolling motion. You can't dorsiflex or pull the toe up. We become flat-footed. You get that shuffle, and then your weight falls. Your weight goes faster than your legs go. So we want that natural rolling motion. Almost works as almost a brake, like a wheel, a brake, and then roll over it. Much more fluid movement here. You want to advance this. Those of you willing, ready, and able, we can step back a little faster, a little higher, step faster, bigger arms. Work on decelerating, change direction, accelerating. Nice, looking good here. We got 5 seconds. Make sure you're not forgetting to breathe. Make sure you're not forgetting to maintain proper spinal posture. Keep the chin tucked, head high. Don't lose your height. Nice. Next, let's work on some lateral movement here. We're going to go ahead. We're going to step out with one foot. Step back. Step out with the other foot. Step back. Notice I'm trying to step high both times. Notice I'm letting my arms swing each time. We don't want stiff arms. Arms aid in the movement. When I say, folks, I'm breathing, I like to just think about the exhales. The inhales will happen naturally every movement. I'm trying to give a nice exhale. Again, you can make this faster, but don't sacrifice range of motion for speed. Of course, you're going to go faster if you just do this. But I still want high, wide, high, in. So keep that same range of motion and try to go faster with that. We got 12 seconds left. Again, like I said, this can, if you go fast enough, this turns into an aerobics class right here. This heart rate up nice and high. Get some core strength, picking those legs up. Nice. All right, we've already done some walking. Now we're going to go ahead and move a little bit more. All we're going to do is we're going to walk forward and back. We're going to go ahead and we're going to walk forwards and backwards. Again, one of the main things I see with PD is the more effective side, that more effective arm does not swing very well. So over-exaggerate, put more brain power into that side. Really exaggerate that side swing. Try to swing it too much. Work on what we just worked on. When you're going backwards, your toe lands, you roll your heel. Fluid weight transfer, you're going forward, your heel lands, and we go right to the toe. We're going to keep walking this whole time, and I'm going to keep changing how we're doing it. The next walk we're going to do opposite palm to opposite knee. So we're going to get our knees nice and high as we walk. Try that in reverse. Again, we're going to keep walking. Don't stop that rhythm, but we're going to go, that was a front side mechanics. Now we're going to go back side mechanics. We're going to do a butt kick here as we walk. So I'll show you guys in this direction. We're going to do our butt kicks right here. And walk backwards. So now I'll show you this way. Try to get your heel as close to your butt as possible. Try to get your calf to your hamstring. One thing I like to do, you can do with this one, you can, same hand can tap your heel. My right hand can tap my right heel. Left hand, tap your left heel. If you want to kind of measure, if you want to watch me this way, you kind of measure that movement. We got 10 seconds left. If you want to advance this even further, with your free hand, reach up to the ceiling. We got all joints moving now. Brain working very hard. Move forward, back. These are some very high level events. You probably see pro football players, basketball players do these type of moves right before the game. They warm up the body. Usain Bolt does these type of drills. And we do them to make sure we can walk fluidly. All right, next movement we're going to do, we're going to keep going forward and back. We're going to go nice and wide, an uncomfortably wide stance. It's going to trigger different muscles up the chain. It's also going to be a good stretch for those inner thighs, inner hips. Walk forward and back. What I notice in my class, and I always see when I'm training, especially people with PD, when we go backwards, they don't realize they get a lot more narrow because they want to be in the comfort zone. Get a little uncomfortable. Of course, don't risk a fall. You know, do so responsibly, but if you're able to, get nice and wide. Keep those legs nice and wide. You're going to get different muscles firing right up the chain. All right, next walk we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and almost like you're walking a tightrope or even more extreme, my right foot is going to cross over, and then my left foot crosses over. We're going to kind of do a crossover step. Try that in reverse. Now, don't be discouraged if you can't do any of these walks. These are high-level, advanced walks that are supposed to be beyond your comfort zone. And what they do is if you can get good at these, then walking normal should become easier. That's the whole point of these. So don't be discouraged if you can't do any of these. Just practice them each day. And try to get closer and closer to being able to do these. All right, last forward and back walk we're going to do. We're going to just do big arms, big knees. Nice marching forward and back. And before we finish, we've done a lot of forward and back movement. We're going to do this side to side. One thing I want you to be conscious of is when you change direction, try not to have to regain your balance or stutter. Try to do it in the most athletic, efficient manner possible where you're just marching, you're keeping that same rhythm, and then you just keep going from one direction to the other. Literally listen to your own beat on the floor. Another symptom we see with Parkinson's is a loss of cadence or rhythm or beat. So try to keep your own beat. Almost done. Good, let's end in place. Big, huge power. Almost done. Finish strong with this walking portion. This is high level marching right here. For the last 5 seconds, if you want, you can do a skip in place, double tap. Super advanced, that's extra credit. Bonus round, we got 3, 2, let your arms drive force, punch through the ground, and 1. Nice. That's a great walking series. Again, that's good for, I recommend everyone with PD do that. You can do that every day, every other day. You can do bits and parts of it, but it's going to be especially important that we're able to do some of those before we, travel and go through all those obstacles. So let's work on our walking. Let's master it.
That was great. I'm winded myself, so that's good exercise. I appreciate it.
Yeah, who thought walking could be such a good workout? It's difficult.
Yes.
Got my heartbeat up. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next exercise. What are we doing now? We're carrying bags.
Yep. Let's carry some bags. Let's get some strength in.
I have my bag here. So what I did with my bag, I have a towel and some weight. So I put it inside my bag and with a big towel so that it wouldn't, kind of move around. So it's kind of stable. So I got my bag right here. Go ahead, Luke.
All right. I'm going to grab a weight really, really quick. And what we're going to do, this one, I'm going to use a kettlebell. You can use a dumbbell. You can use your bag. As Jon mentioned, a great way to train. I've done this on many vacations where I don't have access to a weight room. And if you don't have weights in your home or a gym, as Jon mentioned, you can grab your own bag, a backpack, and you can fill it with water bottles. You can make it as heavy or as light as you want to. So he's going to demonstrate with a bag, which you can use. I'm going to demonstrate with a kettlebell. You can use a dumbbell, anything heavy that you can find. First thing we're going to do is work on picking this bag up and down off the ground. So we're going to do, I'll show you guys from the side. We're going to line up our ankle right with the weight, where the heaviest part of your weight is. We're going to stand right here. When we go down to pick it up, we don't want to round our back. We don't want to tilt way to one side. What we want to do, grab the floor with our feet. Hips go back, 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 back. My back is still straight right here. And then you can drop your knees at the end to get lower. So it's first hips, second knees. It's essentially a deadlift. So first hips, second knees. We're going to grab the weight and we're going to stand on up. Hips back, bend the knees. Stand up without the weight. Hips back, come down, stand up with the weight. Make sure we stand up tall, strong, locked out, good posture, ears over shoulders, over hips, over ankles. And back down. One thing I want you to note, watch me from this view. If the weight's heavy, it's going to be tilting you this way. So we want a lot of core strength to balance you out. So engage these muscles to stay super symmetrical. You can even look at yourself in a mirror while you do these. Almost done. Last one. Then we're going to leave the weight on the floor. And we're going to do the other side. We're going to step around to the other side. We're going to go ahead. Hips go back. And drop the knees. Stand up. Hips, knees, then knees, hips in. I'll show you some different angles. We're halfway through on this second side. Hips back, knees bend, knees push, hips drive in. And I'm making it very robotic to give you the different joints that are moving, but you don't have to think about it like that. You can be a little more fluid. Hips and knees kind of go together, and they kind of come up. It can be a little more fluid. Last one. Make sure your back never rounds. Engage your core as if someone's punching you in the gut. All right, let's switch. And we're going to go ahead and do some carries with the weight. Again, what's nice about the weight is if you're in a weight room, you can do heavier weight each week. If you're using your bag, you can add more water bottles, more clothes to it, more heavy objects. You can put rocks in there, something to make it heavier each week so you get used to the heavier weight. So now we're going to do one more of what we just worked on, where we come down, good form, stand up. We want a packed shoulder down and back, squeeze your armpit closed. We don't want the weight tilting us. Stay pelvis neutral, shoulder neutral. We're just going to do the walk we worked on earlier. We're going to go forward and back. We're going to walk with this heavy weight, forward and backwards. Notice my other arm is swinging. Almost done. Nice. Let's go ahead with good form as we practice. Drop down, bend. Stand up without the weight. We're going to turn around and you grab with the other side with good technique. Hips back. Hips have to go way back. Stand up and let's walk. When I'm going backwards, my toe lands, then I roll to my heel. When I go forwards, my heel lands, then I roll to my toe. Nice. And with good technique, hips go back, drop the weight. Always keep your spine super neutral. Good. Next exercise we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our weight right here. If you're holding a dumbbell, a kettlebell, holding your weight, we're going to 2 arms, weight right in front. And we're going to hip hinge back, pick the weight off the ground with both arms, and stand up here. Hinge back, here. We don't have to go all the way to the ground. My hips go back, my hips go forward. Good. Keep working those hips. Nice, John. Good. Step back. Pinch your shoulder blades back. Pinch your armpits down. I don't want to round it back. I don't want my shoulders falling forward. I want you to pull the weight back. Shoulders back. Think about your hips bending first. Knees bend second. Back bends never. Nice. Okay, next movement we're going to do. We're going to stand here, and we're going to work on an upright row. We're going to take the weight or the bag, and we're going to zip up our jacket. Then we're going to come right back down. My elbows flare out. Good, all the way down. Elbows come up. Back down. Make sure you exhale with each pull. Almost done here. If you need any help, you can use the legs. You can do a little push through the ground, almost like you're jumping into it, a little push if the weight's too heavy. Good. Last one we're going to do, we're going to come up with the row and then put your elbows underneath. So you're going to be able to hold the weight up here. We got to be able to hold our weight up high. This is going to be compared to putting it in the overhead compartment right here. We're going to push overhead, back down, overhead, back down. Again, if you need help from the legs, feel free to give a little jump motion. Bend your hips and knees and then push. Then get that low and then drive up. If you don't need the legs, just do the shoulder workout. Shoulder and arms right here. Almost done. Woo! Nice. With good technique, let's drop it down to our waist. And our hips go back, back, back. Knees bend, bend, bend. Back is straight. Drop the weight on the floor. And we are done. We just worked on being able to pick something up in front, from the side, being able to carry, being able to lift it up, being able to, remember, after the lift, drive your elbows underneath to engage, lock and load, and press all the way to the sky. So you can pick it up, hold it, overhead.
And one of the things to remember is that when we are traveling, we are demonstrating how to put the bags in and out of the overhead bin. However, if you're having trouble with that, or if it's heavier, ask somebody. There's always someone in the airplane that's right there. You can ask them to help put it in. The flight attendant will also help. So don't be shy. Ask if you need help.
Yeah, exactly. That goes for any of these moves. You can always ask in the airport. They always can bring out a chair if you need to. They'll wheel anyone around. People carry stuff for you. Never be shy about asking for help at the airports or in hotels.
All right, Luke, those are good exercises so far. What we got next?
Next, we're going to go ahead and work on sitting down and standing up, one of the most important human movements. Every human should master this. We're going to practice that through the most important exercise of all time, which is the squat. It trains the most muscles in the body, the biggest muscles in the body, through the greatest range of motion possible. So we're going to work on the squat right here. We're going to put our heels underneath our shoulders right here. Toes are going to be slightly clocked out. Maybe think 10 and 2 on a clock. Jam your big toe through the floor like you're grabbing the floor. Get a good suction cup. You can do these barefoot or with shoes on, by the way. Knees slightly push outward, almost like you're trying to spread the floor apart. We're going to sit on down, stand on up. I'm going to use my arms to counterbalance. Put them here, put them here. I like to in front to counterbalance myself. Notice my hips go forward. My hips go back while my knees go forward. Notice my spine stays straight. That doesn't mean it's vertical. It's going to bend up. It's going to come to a change angle a little bit, but it's still straight from my tailbone to my head. If you want to advance this, you can always hold weight right here. You can hold that suitcase we were working on, that bag. You can hold your dumbbell, your kettlebell, something heavy. If you do, make sure it's close to the chest, elbows beneath. Sit all the way down, all the way up. We really want to get that great depth. Sit down nice and low. We're going to add one more potential advancement to this. We're going to go ahead. We're going to stand up and move our foot in. Sit back down. Other foot. Adds a little bit more power, a little bit more movement off the floor, a little more balance on one leg in between each rep. So we're going to sit down and move. And now you can really see how similar this is to moving through a seated, a full airplane. You know, you sit down, have to step around. Almost done. We got 10 seconds left. I want to make a quick note that you can also replay this video and do multiple sets of these exercises. So we're just running through the whole routine once. Once every other day is totally fine. That's a good recommended routine. Increase the weight week by week, month by month, and you'll be more than ready for this trip. But again, if you want to get more ambitious, feel free to do 2 cycles through this video. You can do them again. Last repetition. And end on a good squat, all the way down, all the way up. Nice, shake it out. We had a heck of a workout. Really good for the body, really good for Parkinson's, and also should get you more than ready for this trip.
So what I was going to say was, as you recommended, that we add weights and as you go along, get better. If they need to, keep a calendar of what they're doing, and that will remind them of what they've done and where they need to go to next. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I agree. Keep a chart, log it. Remember how many water bottles you put in your bag, or what weight you used. If it's a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a barbell, and we always want to progress. That's the whole point. Your body adapts to what you're doing, and then you step one step further out of your comfort zone and then adapt to that. So this program should get you more than ready for the trip. And like I said, even irrelevant to the trip, this is a great, well-rounded program where we got a pull, a push, a hinge, a walk, stepping. We got our cardio in. So a good, well-rounded program. We are going to end with one more thing. And again, we're going to tie this more specifically to sitting down for a while on a plane. We're going to end with some stretching. A few quick things I'll say about that. I use these myself when I'm on a long flight or a long bus ride. You can often really get stiff. That unfortunately aids in the stiffness, which can be a major symptom of PD. Sitting and being immobile for a while. So a few things while you're still in your chair, in the seat. If your neck is getting sore while you're sitting down, you can always go ahead. Let's pretend I'm sitting. While you're sitting down here, you can always go ahead and start looking side to side. Get some neck motion, get some blood flow. You can always look up and down. You can always tilt ear to one shoulder, tilt ear to the other side. One more that people often forget is you can drive your chin forward, tuck your chin back. So you can do these in the middle of a long flight, or when the flight lands before you get up, if you just want to do a few of these to loosen up the neck. Then while you're sitting,
I would suggest that they maybe set a timer. So set a timer during the trip, so every hour or every 2 hours, to do some exercise, do some stretches. That'll help you keep you better. So when you get to your destination, you'll be ready to go. Another
great idea, yeah. So another one we can do, moving down the chain, we can do some forward shoulder rolls. You can do this while you're in your chair. Now let's do some backwards. Just kind of loosen up all these muscles that get so locked up in all humans to protect the internal organs. We really get tight in this area. Let's end with the good posture of our shoulders back and down. And again, even while seated, we can open and close the hands a little bit. Those might get stiff and tight on us. While we're doing that, let's keep doing this. Another really fun one that I like to do, I don't know if fun's the right word, But people do not remember this muscle, the transverse abdominis. It's below your abs. It's deep in the core. It really turns off very easily in humans, and it's very important with spinal stability and preventing lower back tightness, stiffness, which we all experience, especially after a long flight. So I do this after a long flight before I get up. What I'll do, and I'll demonstrate with a tight shirt so you can see. Wait, it's a pretty weird one, kind of odd. You're going to suck your belly button in, push your belly button out. What you're doing is you're engaging that transverse abdominis muscle deep in the core. Do a few reps here. And that's going to wake up that muscle, and can hopefully, those first few steps, you're not going to have as stiff of a back. So I've dealt with that a lot, as every human has. Next, working our way down the chain, another really good one, a muscle to turn on before we start moving and walking, is our glutes. So all you're going to do while you're seated, just pinch your glutes and back down. You can do this while you're sitting on the airplane seat. Just pinch your glutes and back down. When your glutes pinch and engage, your head should almost rise 1 inch, because the muscle engaged, contracted, almost should push you up. So squeeze your, again, kind of a weird one, squeeze your butt and then relax, squeeze your butt. I would do 10 of those before you stand up out of a chair for a long, after you've been sitting for a while. That works if you're on the couch watching Netflix or on a flight. Get the glutes engaged before your first few steps. And the last thing we'll do while seated is just start picking one leg up off the ground, then the other. Just start picking your legs up off the ground, start getting some motion, start getting some brain neuromuscular activity to the legs. That's a great routine. As Jon mentioned, you can do it, you can time it, you can do it periodically throughout the flight, you can do it in the middle of flight when you wake up from your nap, or at the very least, I highly recommend doing it once the plane lands, doing a quick snapshot running through this routine before you take those first few steps that might be tight, stiff, frozen. And then once you do stand up, one more good thing real quick, when you get off the plane, I like to do some side bends for the back. My back always gets super stiff after a flight. You can always do some of those, some reaches, some just generic stretching. Yeah, reach all directions, move the legs around, pick the legs up. Really good to do after a flight. So
Give yourself a hug.
give yourself a nice big hug. Yeah, you earned it.
All right, that was awesome, Luke. That was some great exercises that we're going to hopefully work at, and I hope everybody enjoys it. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us and we'll help you. If you have any suggestions, we're here to have some fun and to get you prepared for the trip. So thanks again, Luke. I appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing people soon.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Thanks, guys.